Hey there, welcome or welcome back to Oops, I Planted Again. My name is Courtney, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my best growing, my most favorite plants of 2022. These are plants that were my favorite to watch grow that I think have been really successful, and I'm really excited to share this video with you, and I am excited to actually look back on this video in a year, and hopefully I have all of these plants still, and they're all still growing really well. Let's get into the first plant. We have to start out with this absolute banger, my Anthurium forgetii. I think this is the white stripe, I'm pretty sure. I got this at a pop-up of Ecuagenera, and it was in Houston. It was in April. So when I first got this plant, I was really underwhelmed, to be completely honest with you. It was way smaller, like the leaves were smaller than this, and it only had, I think, like 2 or 3. It really wasn't anything crazy. So the growth was really slow on this one, and that's kind of what like made me kind of turn off from this plant. But in July, I went away for a week. I came back, and this was that first like new leaf that grew, and I was like, holy crap, okay, I just had to change the conditions of the plant. I originally had it in my grow tent, and that's where I had this leaf. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to take it downstairs and put it on like my Anthurium shelf, and it was doing super well. It did grow in this leaf, and I don't know why it's so ripped. I never touched the leaves just because I'm scared that they're going to turn out like this, and this one turned out like this, but I was still happy that it was growing. And then we got this new leaf in the last like couple of weeks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then it's flowering right now, which is absolutely amazing. And I think one of the biggest changes that I made to this that helped me grow this so well was the medium. I originally just had it in moss, which is kind of how I like to have my plants when I was first importing. But you know I love leca. If you're new to this channel, you'll learn that I like leca, and I actually need to make some more leca videos. But I changed the medium to be moss, perlites, and leca. As you can see, even the roots are growing into the bottom of the pot, and I think it just made it grow extraordinarily well. I think we have another new leaf growing, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully it's not another flower. Not that it's like a bad thing, but it's like, you know, I'd like another leaf. But I mean, I just love the look of this. This is probably the Anthurium that I am most shocked by, and I love it. I cannot wait to see this grow. And also, like, all the leaves have grown like out really beautifully, and I love the look of this plant. I just think it looks so amazing. The next plant, I don't think I've mentioned much really on my channel, but it's this Philodendron Campo. I actually have a bunch of these, and I ended up making cuttings from one single plant that was doing terribly, and I'm glad that I thought to myself to actually propagate it, because I probably wouldn't have it at all anymore because it was just dying. It was just not doing well. But I have since grown so many of these Campos, and I just love the way they look. And honestly, this for me is a really low maintenance plant. It just sits in moss, but I have an entire box of cuttings and propagated plants that I grow. They just sit in this big tub in my grow tent, and I basically just bottom water it that way. I just fill up the big tub with water, and I go about my day. They chill in the grow tent. They have light, they have air circulation, they have humidity, and I rarely ever have to like check up on these plants, which is something that I love. And I just love the look of these, and I really need to bring out more plants from my grow tent, because I just have like some really great plants in there that I need to like put around the house. I love this one. Next is like my big kahuna. When I first got one of these last year, I was so excited. I still have that one. It's up there, but it's just like really funky looking. But this is my Philodendron Billietiae. So this was the first one that I imported. The first one that I actually bought was in person. This one I imported, and I was honestly a little bit nervous about importing this plant because in the past, philodendrons have been the worst to import, and Anthuriums have done really well. So I was really nervous that this was going to die, because when I got it, it had like, I think it had like three or four leaves, and they were huge. And I was hoping that I could keep up with that, them getting big, like being big, because obviously we want, you know, big, amazing leaves. And it's been doing extraordinarily well. I actually took it out of my grow tent a couple of months ago and put it downstairs. It's been near the humidifier, but not as close as it is right now. I literally just did that yesterday, I think. And this is the medium that I have it growing in. This one is drainless. drainless. I never get that word right. But, so this one is just moss and then perlite and leca. And, you know, this part's getting a little bit, you know, grody. And will I clean this out? Of course. Am I going to do it soon? No. Because, you know, I'm not going to do it. But it has a new leaf coming in, and I'm hoping this one is like super massive. But this plant, another one that's been super easy, looks gorgeous, and I've absolutely had no troubles with this. Any of my philodendron bilieties I haven't had trouble with, which is like, you know, when you don't have trouble with a plant, it's really good. Knock on wood. I don't have a piece of wood next to me, but knock on wood that this stays pretty easy to care for. Next is my Alocasia Silver Dragon. I actually bought one in person a couple of months before I got this one. This one was imported. And at first I was very nervous about growing this one because, you know, spider mites. They're the devil. And they're very, you know, attracted to alocasias, but I still don't care. But I love them, so it doesn't even matter. But this one is just growing in my little leca system that I have in my grow tent. I kind of think I'm ready to take these out, like a lot of those plants out. But I have to get really good glassware. Like, I have to get glassware. I have to go shopping at IKEA and get some to put them and display them around the house. And yeah, I just love this plant. It's growing extraordinarily well. These are the roots. You can tell it's like, girl, can you please repot me? And you know, I will do it eventually. But this one has literally just grown strictly in leca. I imported it, put it straight into like my little leca system, and that's been it. It did grow slow at the beginning, but now I think it's just like absolutely booming and it's so cute. Okay, this one is like a serious repot. Look how bad this is. I'm sorry, this is so bad. But I mean, it's like I didn't expect it to grow like this. So this is like my third or fourth Albo Syngonium. And this one to me has like the absolute best variegation, even though it's like very, it's giving Bella Hadid. But it's still growing really, really, really well. And it definitely needs to come out of the grow tent. But I love Syngoniums. I just think they're one of like the coolest, like unique looking plants. And I think they're really, really easy to grow. This one is in my leca system. The roots are starting to protrude at the bottom. But I mean, the variegation on this one is so cute. And if you want variegation, but you don't want to get a Thai Constellation or a Monstera Albo, because they are expensive, this is one that I would absolutely recommend to you. I just think it's so cute. Like, come on. This is giving. This gives. This is my Philodendron Sodi Roy. I've actually had two. I have two or three. I don't know, but this is the only one that I have left. And I'm just so happy with this plant. Like, you're probably like, Courtney, this only has 4 leaves. But for me, 4 leaves is amazing because look at the roots. Clearly it's happy in its little leca system and clearly it needs to be repotted, but it continues to bust out leaves for me, and that is just what makes me so happy. And this one is also the biggest one that I've had, and it literally only had 1 leaf. When I imported it, I think it had 2 leaves, and then it had 1, and I was like, wow, I am not doing well with this one, you know, but it happens when you're importing plants. And then it just continued to grow. And I think if I put it in like obviously I need to put it in a bigger pot, so that I will continue to give me new leaves. But like I said, I am like a glassware person for like with my leca and stuff. So I have to get some more glassware, and I love getting it from IKEA. I just haven't been in a long time, but I think it's really inexpensive at IKEA. And they have a lot of options that I really love. But this is definitely going to come out of the grow tent in the next couple weeks. I absolutely love this plant. This is one that I feel like people don't talk about enough. And I don't know why. I just think it looks so unique, especially for a philodendron. And it has like a little bit, not like a shine, but like silvery kind of type of leaves. And I think it looks really cool. And last but not least, is my Philodendron melanochrysum. I've had a few Philodendron melanochrysums in the last few years, and I love them. I think I got my first one in 2021. I don't remember. But I am in awe of these plants. This is probably my number 1 philodendron recommendation. I can't believe I'm saying that. Okay, number 2. Philodendron lemon lime is definitely my number 1, but this is my number 2. That's a little bit more uncommon. And I just think this plant, it just goes crazy. Okay, so I imported this plant, and these was how big the leaves are. I think it had 3 leaves. Started dying off, and you know that happens with importing, especially with philodendrons in my experience. So I was kind of like, oh shit, like I messed this one up. But I just stuck it in moss. So this one is just in moss and perlite. Stuck it in there, and I was just like, I'm gonna leave it alone. And then it started to grow, and I was like, okay, it's starting to come back. And then it kept going. I was like, I need to make like a better system for it. So I ended up using one of these plant spike stakes that I got from the Dollar Tree. Cut it in half, doubled it in size, but it's honestly so rickety. And I think this plant is like about to get big. You can tell it's almost out. It's like almost at the top, and this like leans a little bit too much for me. If I probably had a more stable container, it would work better. But honestly, this just needs to be repotted anyways, and I want to get a better system. Now I want to keep this in like moss leca type of contraption mediums. I always say contraption. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make a pole or support system that obviously isn't wood. And you know, we're gonna figure it out. But this is probably my most like excited that I was to see grow because of how big the leaf used to be. And I think I can really get back there in the next couple of months. And I love this plant. This is probably one of the most surprising plants that I've ever had, that I was just like in love with. I think it looks really cool. It is really easy to take care of. It also propagates really, really well. Like if I wanted to chop this and propagate it, the roots would probably be growing within a week, because I think it just takes really well to moss. I think I've only grown one in soil, but all of the other ones have been in like moss or leca or some type of mixture like that, and they've just grown so beautifully. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and I want to know what has been like your favorite plant to watch grow this year in 2022. Make sure you comment that below. Thank you again for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.